Have you ever had one of those days where someone just pushes your buttons and sets you off, where you end up seeing red and completely lose your cool? Well, there's been a fair share of those moments in the NHL, so in this video, we're going to be looking at the top 6 angriest NHL moments. Patrick Roy versus Bruce Boudreau and the Ducks. Let's go back to 2013. It's the end of the third period and the Avalanche are up 6-1 over the Ducks. Fans are probably filing out at this point, trying to get to their cars because the game is over. But if that's the case, those fans missed out on complete chaos. The buzzer sounded, both teams got a little chippy, but then it turned into a full-out brawl. During all the chaos, Corey Perry started to chirp Patrick Roy, which immediately set Patrick Roy off and started a yelling match. As the announcers mentioned, Roy had put on his fourth line, indicating that if things were going to get chippy, they'd have to step up. Which they did, and clearly the Ducks were not happy with the move. As you can see, Bruce Boudreau is absolutely giving it to Patrick Roy. Roy then retaliates by shoving the partition between the benches right at Boudreau. In my opinion, this is not on Roy or the Avs. It seems the Ducks were just embarrassed from losing so bad, and things escalated quickly. I don't know about you, but watching Bruce babyface Boudreau get mad is absolutely hilarious to me. Lindy, Ruff, and Brian Murray. Staying on the trend with coaches mixing it up with one another, here we have Sabres coach Lindy Ruff going at it with Senators coach Brian Murray back in 2007. Now this is just the aftermath of what was one of the most exciting line brawls to ever happen in NHL history. The chaos was contagious, making its way to the bench where both coaches had a few things to say to each other. You can tell how heated this exchange was because Rob Ray, who's standing right in the middle of them, had to cover his mic, or else I'm pretty sure we'd be hearing a ton of F-bombs right now. The refs couldn't even stop these two, with Murray balancing on the top of the boards and Lindy squeezing past the partition, and both of them throwing vicious finger points at one another. This all occurred early in the game's second period and took a whole 20 minutes for the officials to get everything sorted out. Jordan Binnington, possibly the player with the biggest temper in the league right now, and is the definition of a loose cannon. There are too many moments where Jordan Binnington lost his cool and did something stupid out of anger, so let's take a look at some of them. The first moment that comes to mind is Binnington losing it on Jamie Benn during the second round of the playoffs. The period is over, Benn skates by Binnington and gives him a little tap in the pads. Binnington quickly swings and chops away at Benn, starting an end of period scrum. It doesn't end here though. Binnington leaves the scrum he started, skates off to the bench, and as he passes Dallas's goalie Ben Bishop, he then takes a big swing at Bishop's head with the stick. Moving on to another Binnington meltdown. Facing off against the LA Kings, Binnington puts on his tough guy act and tries to take out Clifford. But of course, being the good teammates they are, the Blues jump in before Binnington has to defend himself. Lastly, we have my favorite, Jordan Binnington and Nazem Kadri. In this play, the net gets knocked off by an Avalanche player, just as Makar puts the puck in the net. However, the whistle blows and the goal is waved off, and the Blues quickly come in to rough up the Avs player. And of course, Binnington does what he does best and completely loses his cool and gets right into the middle of things. He then puts his focus on Colorado's Kadri and takes a full swing with his stick right at Kadri's face. Fast forward to May 22nd of 2022 where the two faced off once again, but this time they're in the postseason and the intensity has reached new levels. In this game, Kadri was going for a loose puck but got tied up with a Blues D-man and ended up crashing the net, taking Binnington out. Binnington was forced to leave the game after getting injured on the play. After the game had ended, Kadri was in a post-game interview and Binnington was still fuming from the play, so he threw a water bottle at Kadri while he was being interviewed on live television. Here's what Binnington had to say about throwing a bottle at Kadri.
I see him kind of doing an interview there, smiling, laughing, and I'm there in a knee brace, limping down the hallway, and just felt like it was a God-given opportunity. I just threw the water bottle, an empty water bottle. It landed like 2 feet from him, so it is what it is there. And
Curtis Joseph taking out a referee. Here's another hothead goalie moment by Toronto Maple Leafs goalie Curtis Joseph. It was 2002 and the Leafs were facing off against the Ottawa Senators. On the play, Alfredson was taken through the crease while a shot was being taken on Cujo. Cujo was taken down and the puck goes into the net. Joseph was immediately fuming, so he shoots back up onto his skates, throws his glove and blocker onto the ice, and rushes over to the ref. Cujo was so angry he lost control of his entire body as he made his way to the referee, Nick Magoo, but quickly lost his footing, taking Magoo down with him. Still pissed off, Cujo, now on the ice, took off his mask and continues to give the official an earful. Teammates and other officials had to keep Cujo away from the ref as he kept trying to get into his face, letting him know that the goal should not have counted. Realistically though, Leafs D-man Cross pushed Alfredsson into the crease and into Cujo, but in that moment Joseph could only see red and could not believe the call. Andrew Shaw. The Montreal Canadiens were down by 1 goal with just over 30 seconds left to go in the third period against the Ducks. With the goalie pulled and the extra man, the Canadiens were doing a great job of keeping the puck in Anaheim's zone and keeping the pressure on. But then the momentum came to a complete halt when Canadiens' Andrew Shaw took a high sticking penalty. The rest of the Canadiens looked completely demoralized and Shaw's temper ignites as he enters the penalty box, smashing his stick to bits and swearing like a sailor. I can't blame him though, he's basically the reason why his team has no chance of getting the equalizer. He's then escorted off the ice and ends his tantrum by getting in some final words with the official and punching a stick rack on his way off the ice. John Tortorella versus the Calgary Flames. In January 18th of 2014, the Vancouver Canucks were facing off against the Calgary Flames, and the Flames coach decided to start his 4th line. Not wanting to start the Sedins versus a line of grinders, Tortorella followed suit but was not happy about it. Before the puck even dropped, Tortorella looked over to Calgary's coach like, really? This is how you want to start the game? So the puck then drops and you guessed it, all hell broke loose. The entire time the line brawl is going on, Tortorella is just screaming over to Calgary's coach Hartley. All 5 skaters for both teams went directly to the box when everything was said and done. It didn't end there though. During the first intermission of the game, Tortorella lost his cool and went after the Flames right outside their dressing room. This feels like a behind the scenes at WWE or something. The entire Flames roster is just lined up there waiting to get at Tortorella. The game went into shootouts and the Canucks took the win. But in the press conference afterwards, Tortorella had this to say about the opening play.
Well, I see the starting lineup, and I know the other guy across the bench. And it's easy for people to say, well, put the Sedins out there, and it's deflated. I can't put our players at risk that way. With the lineup that he had, I am not going to put those type of players at risk. And that's what ensues. I'm not proud of it. I've apologized to every one of the players involved in it, but I'd do the same thing again if it came that way, because I cannot put anybody else out there not knowing what's going to happen.
John Tortorella ended up getting suspended for 15 days without pay for the altercation in the hallway. This was just the tip of the iceberg for the angriest NHL moments, so if you want to see more, hit that like button and let us know in the comments down below which moments to include in part 2 of this series.